What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here, back again with a double review. 2 action films I recently picked up at Dollar Tree. Both of them I featured in recent Dollar Tree hauls. Let's start with this one, Master Z, Ip Man Legacy. This is a spin-off of the Ip Man series, starring Max Zhang. He also goes by Jin Zhang, if you look at IMDb. He plays a character named Chung Tin Chi. So in Ip Man 3, he challenged Ip Man behind closed doors and lost. And in this film, he basically learns to eat some crow, and he wants to sort of go establish a new life with his son and just be a good father for his son. And unfortunately, he comes to the aid of a couple young ladies who've gotten in trouble with some local street gangs. And then when they target him and his business, he's just like a small businessman now, he must rely on their help and the help of their, the one sister's brother, who owns a restaurant, for shelter and for employment. And the street gang continues to cause problems and target Cheng Tin Chi, and they also are expanding into selling heroin, despite the fact that the leader of the triad, who is the older sister of the head street gang guy, Michelle Yeoh, she's trying to take all her business is legitimate, okay? So her younger brother is like defying her. So there's a conflict there. Also, you have the henchman of another triad boss, who played by Tony Jaa, who shows up here and there and challenges Cheng Tin Chi to fight. He seems like he just revels in the chance to test his skills against Cheng Tin Chi. So he's not like dripping with evil. The leader of the street gang is a bad guy, and some of his henchmen. And then also, another wild card is the Dave Bautista character. He appears to be a friendly restaurateur who is involved in charity work, but it would be kind of funny if that's what he did in the movie, and and that was the end of it. He's more than he seems to be, and he gets involved in several fight scenes, and of course, he has a size advantage over everyone in the film. So they take advantage of that in the fight scenes. You know, he's like really beating down people and launching them in the air, and you've got to really chip away at him when you're fighting him. Very good stunt work. It's not super over the top, but it's exciting. You know, they use scaffolding and they're climbing on the side of buildings, and they're hanging off at neon signs, and it's very entertaining. Good stunt work. Very nice setting. It does appear to be like almost like a back lot setting, you know, well dressed up, like a street in old Hong Kong, you know, with signs and everything. But it has that feel, which I didn't really mind, because it kind of reminds me of an old school kind of film. And there's a few other settings as well. And basically everything just comes to a conclusion. I won't really even get into it, but it's just an entertaining, fun action film. Perhaps not groundbreaking, but you know, well made all around. And then you have Jason Momoa as Braven. He plays a logger. They threatened his world. He will destroy theirs. And yeah, Jason Momoa, another big guy. In this film, you know, he's kind of like scaled down a little bit. He can be very vulnerable. Obviously, he can kick some ass. I mean, but it's not quite like Bruce Willis in Die Hard level, you know, like a regular guy in a crazy situation. But it's closer to that than some over-the-top badass, you know, just taking out all the bad guys. I mean, he has some real close calls in this. And basically, he plays a family guy who is having problems with his father. His father had an accident. His father, played by Stephen Lang, who, of course, has carved out a niche as, like, playing old badasses lately. And he has lost some of his memory. So they go to a cabin, and he's going to have a very difficult talk with his dad about, hey, we need to get you under some kind of supervised care. And the problem is that one of Braven's co-workers or subordinates, who was delivering a load of timber, has linked up with a shady character in town to smuggle some drugs. So they've got this special log that he's carved out a huge section where they can just pack all these drugs. And when they're delivering it, they get into an accident. So he says, oh, wait a minute, my boss's cabin in the woods is less than a mile away. So they stash the drugs at his place, and then meanwhile, the boss, played by Garrett Dillahunt, who's very good in these, playing these slippery, slimy bad guys, but intelligent bad guys, cold and calculating. He says, well, we're going to go get the drugs. And they find out that Braven and his family, some members of his family, I won't tell you which ones, are there. Well, his dad's there, I'll tell you that much. But other members of the family get involved too, because he has a wife and daughter. Okay. And it's basically just a battle of wills and determination as these bad guys try to negotiate the return of these drugs. And, like I said, Braven's family gets involved, so the action is, there's a siege aspect to the film when they're in the cabin trying to defend themselves, but then the action is also taken into the woods and into this mountainous area. He's got like a 4x4 vehicle that he uses to escape, and the bad guys are really good bad guys. They're all, most of them are big and mean looking, and they look like the kind of guys you would bring for this kind of job. And he's a logger, so there are axes, there are bows and arrows, there are bear traps, and it's basically just a battle of wills and determination and some pretty good choreographed fight scenes. The stunt work was pretty good. Some of the stunts where people are falling off of cliffs or climbing up cliffs or things could have been a little better. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad or they're really bad special effects, but they don't go out of their way to showcase that. That's the way I'll describe it. And, there's some touching moments between the father and son as the Stephen Lang character's trying to assert himself and, assert his independence even as they're coming under attack. And you do get to see Stephen Lang go into badass mode, which is always a fun thing. Yeah, very good. Both films, well worth. If you see them at Dollar Tree and you're into action, you can't go wrong with either one. I mean, it's pretty much short and sweet. Very solid action films. Neither one groundbreaking, both good. Had a great time with both of them. And there you go. Have you seen either one of these? What are some of your favorite films starring any of these guys? And let me know in the comments below. And thanks a lot. Later.